Hello and welcome to this second part of pool monitoring. In this part I will look at valve that I use to turn off and turn on the water for the water filling. This will of course use the same Arduino, and it will also upload the status to the Magic Mirror. So welcome and hope you enjoy. So to be able to control the water level in the pool, we of course need a sensor. And for this, I'm just using a simple floater with a magnetic relay. And it closes when the water level is okay. And we just connect it to an IO signal, or IO port on the Arduino. So it's really simple. For controlling the water, I use a Gardena water valve. This is a part of the Gardena garden system, and it uses a 9-volt signal to close and open the valve. And the important thing here is that it only requires a short pulse to open or to close. So in that way, it doesn't consume any current when it's open or closed. You just have to send a short pulse when you want to change it. So that's really convenient. And I will show you how the pulses look like. They are a bit different, but I will show that later on. I just did a quick search on the internet to see other options, and I found that there were several other valves that work in the same way. So you should be able to find someone that works for you. But still, I think the important thing here is that you shouldn't need to supply any current to keep it open. You just want it to respond to the pulse. So that's what I'm going to use in this project. Here's the water valve connected. The cable goes into the Arduino. And then it's filled from here. And now you can also see the level sensor. So interfacing with the Gardena water valve is a bit more complicated. And let's try to understand the schematics here. First of all, the pool level is just an input signal, so I will just detect if it's on or off and decide if I need to fill or if the water level is okay. But when I need to fill the pool, there are two different states, and it's actually changing the polarity on the water valve. So when I turn it one way, plus and minus, it will open, and the other way it will close. So if I activate the first transistor here, I will do I will supply the water valve in this direction and ending up with a 9-volt positive on terminal 1. And it will also go through this relay, so I will have the ground on terminal 2. And that's actually to open the water valve. Next time I want to close the valve, and what will happen then is that I will activate this transistor, driving the second relay, and that will feed the signal, the positive signal, to the terminal 2, but it will also go through a 100 ohm resistor and feed the ground to terminal 1, and this will close the water valve. It's a bit more complicated, but it works fine with these two relays, and yeah, you could probably have done it in another way as well, but it's reliable and it works fine in my application. I added some diodes as well, both for securing for transients on when the different coils are discharged, so I protect the Arduino from that. These are normal signal diodes, it's not any bigger ones needed here, so this also proved to work. So let's have a look at the Arduino program. I opened up my demo code for the Pool Arduino program, and first thing I want to do is go to the setup part, where I need to add a small safety feature. So the purpose of this is to make sure that the water valve is closed whenever the Arduino is rebooted or restarted. And I do that by setting the off relay to high and then wait for 60 milliseconds and then turn it off. So that's the signal I want to my relay on the valve to make sure it's closed. So we'll always do at that start. The next thing I want to do is to make sure that we actually check the water level at a good interval. So I will check the water level every 10 seconds. And if it's time to do this check, I will call the function water fill, and we will have a look at that function. So every 10 seconds I will be polling the IO and to see if it needs to fill or if it's okay. And then we have another safety feature down here. We'll just comment that as well. So this is just to make sure that every 12 hours I will also close the valve. If something goes wrong, if something hangs up or anything, basically, I check that it's not in the filling mode. And if it's not in the filling mode, determined by this variable here, I will close the valve. So another safety feature. And then we want to have a look at the water fill function. It's quite simple. It's not so advanced here. It's straightforward. The first thing I do is to read the digital I/O, of course, and to check the water level. And for debug purposes, I set it to 1 now, and that would mean that I have a low level and need to fill. If I get a 0, then it's okay. Everything is okay. The first check here is to return the timers and to reset the timer for both for waiting for a stable level, because I don't want to start filling just because the level is low for a few seconds. So I need a stable signal, and we can configure that, but in my case I will at least wait for maybe a half an hour or something, because if somebody's using the pool, the level can go up and down, and it can be things can happen. So there's no reason to have a very short time here, because if I fill it 1 hour later or not, it doesn't really matter. So this is keep resetting the timer if the level is low. And then the next thing here is that we are checking for the status of low level. And here, for demo purposes, I've set this delay to only 30 seconds, but I would normally have that at an hour. So if the level is low for more than an hour continuously, then I will start filling. And here we can see the command for filling. I will turn the valve, the relay for on to high, and then I will wait for 260 milliseconds. So that's the signal I want to turn the valve on. So now the water will start flowing. And then I also have a set time to fill. So I will, for example, in this case, I've set it to, this is the max fill, sorry. So this is the maximum amount of time that I will, and that's 3,600 seconds. But then we have the fill time here. So I will fill for 900 seconds. So that's about 15 minutes. So when the level is low, I will fill for a minimum of 15 minutes. And if the level is returned to normal, then I'm okay. If it's not returned to normal, maybe it's a very low level in the pool, then I will keep filling for up to 1 hour. And after that time, I will close the valve no matter what. And in this case, I will actually set the fill to arrow mode too. But that you can see will be reset down here if the level is actually okay. Then I will reset it. So this will mean that I get an error signal if after trying to fill it for 1 hour, it's still not okay level. Then it will give me an error, and that's sent back to the magic mirror. So this is the water fill function. And then we need to monitor this, of course, on the magic mirror. So I will move up to my upload function. And then I want to send the level, the status of the fill. This is the number 120,123. And then also the timers. And then you will see what I'm using that for. So we will download that. And Arduino is running, and it's checking here. It's finding a low level, 1 here. So I connected my oscilloscope to the relays for controlling the valve. We're going to have a look at the waveforms for turning on and off the valves. So capturing the first one, this is to turn on the valve. You can see it 260 millisecond signal, and it looks okay. And then for turning off the valve, it has a 60 millisecond. And also the resistor of 100 ohm is coming in here, so it's not that much energy in the pulse. and that's actually what we need to turn off the valve. So that looks good. So now we're going to have a look at Python program on the Magic Mirror. And if you haven't watched my earlier video about Magic Mirror, I suggest you go back and watch them before you watch this, because there's a lot of things that has happened here. But I have opened up my demo project on the Raspberry. And for the root page here, which is the main page on the Flask web server on my Magic Mirror, you can see it's the root here. I will add the data from the level information from the pool. But first of all, we need to have a look at the function that receives the data. So here we have the function that receives the data from the pool Arduino. And as you can see, I have already uncommented those lines here. I have the fill. First we have the level, current level. We have the fill status that tells us if it's filling or if it's low level or okay. And then we have the two timers that we also sent to the Magic Mirror. And you can see the page here is /pool, so it's posted to this page. So now we have it in the array. So we go up to the root of the root page here, and then you can see I have added another check here. I explain what this is. So this is just to show different information depending on the status. So here we will show a text that the pool is filling. We have filling failure if the status flag is 2. And we have also pool level is low. And then I have added the timers here. We'll see that it's counting down and waiting for how long it's low and how long it takes to fill. So this we will send back to the HTML page on the Magic Mirror. And then we need to add it to the JSON data as well. And then we have the parameters here. So now it will be sent back to the main page, HTML, in the data structure. As you might remember, I also have an index page. So let's move up to this. Here we have the index page /index for debugging purposes. And we will, of course, add the information here that we want to monitor. Like this. Before we start it, we need to check the HTML page. Here I just created different circles for different statuses. We will use that to display if it's a low level, if the level is okay, or if there are any failures. And this is in the definition here, in the styles. Here you can see style tag. Let's move down to the body. Here is the first one we want to do. This is basically just showing the arrow text that we created and the timer. And if this one is empty, we don't have any arrows and it will not show anything, so it will just be blank. And the second part here, this will show a spinning circle if it's filling, and it will show a yellow or red or green circle depending on the status of the pool filling mechanism. did too much here. Yeah, do it like this. So here we have the spinning circles, and then I also uncommented the texts, if it's filling and if it shows small text under the symbol. So let's try this out. I will execute. So the web server is running, and we will just restart Arduino by downloading the code again. Then we open up the web server. And we will just wait for Arduino to upload new code, and I will explain. So pool level, green, everything is okay. And then now we get the low level, and you can see it's 20 seconds, it's waiting. 15, pool level is low. So this would normally be an hour. You can see that level is low. And now you can see it's filling. And it will keep filling for 900 seconds here. If we get any errors, it will be red and it will show filling error here. So quite a neat information, but everything I need to monitor this and make sure that the pool level is okay.